we'll start the meeting. All right, everyone, welcome to the regular meeting of the Old Lyme Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission. Today is Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, approximately 6 o'clock, and we're meeting in the mezzanine meeting room at Town Hall.
Okay, starting, I guess Julie is new, and I know all of you, you can just give your names to her so she can know who you are. That would be helpful. And I don't know if you already introduce yourself, but just sort of go around the table, that would be a good start.
Mike Aurelia.
Pete Freya.
Brad Keys.
John Beecham. Todd Cronus. Scott Patchell.
Right, you, Graham. All right. The first item on the agenda is under new business, number 1, Old Colony Beach Association for structures, dredging and fill permit. So, thank you, Eric, for just, reminding me that I had asked for this on the agenda, the other week. So for everyone's awareness, and I think everyone got the email of what we were sent, we just got information from Deep about this, this application, the sewer work that's going to be done down at the beaches. There is no application at this time. It is a very large project. It's going to be encompassing inland wetlands for sure, not just tidal wetlands. And so I just wanted everyone to have a look at it so that when the applications or hopefully applications come before us,
Yes.
that we're not totally blindsided by it. I think a lot of us know that the sewer project is happening. And so it's just good to know that it's also on Deep's radar, and hopefully as the project goes on and they're going to start working your inland wetlands areas, they'll be coming to us. Was there anything concerning in the report, Eric, that you got from Deep?
No, yeah, I have the plans sort of sitting in my office now for a year. There's already been some work that's been done down there in connection with some of the pods that they've sort of installed for parking and whatever else down by the beach. But at this point, I think we're more or less ready for whatever they bring in. But again, given where we are with the sewer situation, I'm not sure when that's going to be or how much that's going to be. So for right now, again, you can take a look at what they already authorized up here for, their activity. There will be, I'm sure, tidal wetlands in back that will go to zoning, with the can, and then again, in the wetlands are back coming to you folks. So for now, as Rachel said, it's sort of informational. Be aware that they do have the deep permit in place for the sewers when the sewers go forward. But at the moment, there's no application pending. So, okay.
All right, any questions? Right, moving on to old business. Item number 1 is application 25-28 for 43-2 Saunders Hollow Road for your development, an application to build a new single-family residence. Anyone here from the? Yeah. Come on up.
Pretty long.
You can stand right there. Yeah. Thanks. And for the record, can you just introduce yourself?
Sure, Mike Serrani, the development.
So I understand the team was out at a site walk. Did anybody have any specific questions on that site walk?
I had a couple. I missed the sidewalk, but I've been to this site twice, as it turns out. I went the next day when I got back from Niagara Falls, and kind of curious because there seems to be so much ledge on the site.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot of deep tests to find.
No,
You
so,
just go over, where the septic.
originally the septic testing was in here. It was done in, I think, Dick Gates or John Flowers did it way back when, 20 years ago or something like that. Yeah, 1802. So all their testing was in here. That was approved for a septic system. The soils are much better over here. On the south side of the ledge, it drops off. It's good gravel and sandy, so it's a better spot for it. And you're obviously out of the wetland fill area there.
That was my only question. It was hilly.
Yeah, it's everything over there is rolling and hilly and rocky, so it kind of conforms with everything else in that neighborhood.
Yeah, when I was on the Open Space Commission, the owner approached us for a possible purchase of that lot, interestingly enough. And we didn't think it was adjacent to other open space or.
Yeah, it would be,
Too far back from the road.
it'd be pretty dangerous back there to have open space. You probably have kids with rope swings
That's what we concluded.
jumping off the cliff there, so.
Any other questions? All right, does anyone want to make a motion on the application? I'll second it. All those in favor?
Can we just have a little bit of discussion? I'm assuming that Eric puts all the standard sedimentation erosion controls.
Yeah,
It's out of our 100-foot.
and again, before you get started, the actual work, just have me out there to make sure that it looks good before you start doing the work out there, so.
Just so that it has the standard stat conditions and I'm fine with
The
it.
standard staff conditions on the approval there, okay?
Perfect, you're okay with that, John?
Yes.
All right, I'll second still. All those in favor? Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions?
I wasn't.
Okay. All right, motion passes. So, you'll be getting something shortly from the land use staff.
You do need to put a legal notice in the newspaper, but you should be getting the actual script of decision shortly, okay?
Perfect. All right, thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you. Have a good night. Right, item number 2 under old business is 308-1 Mile City Road for a status violation update.
As we discussed last time, and as our attorney was here last time, the violation has at this point largely been addressed. There is still the pending litigation. Just today, I was in touch with Sella. He is, based on your previous discussions, submitting a stipulation to counsel for the property owners. Since I think the council of property owners just got it today, there's not been a response, but the goal is to get some sort of resolution stipulated and through the court record here. Again, per your discussions last time, we are seeking our costs and some amount of nominal damages. But beyond that, again, the work itself has now been done and completed, so there's no new update on the violation per se, but the case is still hanging out there. So that's really the extent of my update, unless you have any other questions about it.
Doesn't seem like there's any other questions or discussions. I'm sure you'll hear from your attorney.
Well, we did. We actually did, and I mean, you know, in all due respect, we're not gonna agree to, you know, what's being presented. We'd actually like to really put this to bed and, you know, basically, you know, we've taken our beating, we paid our attorney, we paid our engineers, we paid our land surveyors, we paid everybody along the way. We've resolved the issues. We've since come back with another application following the process and in good faith, you know, we're following processes, showing that we, you know, we want to do the right thing by the commission and the regulations. We feel like there's no reason to drag this thing on and create more lawyers' fees because we're not going to agree to that. We're not going to, it just doesn't make sense. We had a lot of due diligence that had to be done before we could bring the application. Hiring the engineer, hiring the soil scientist, a lot of work was done prior to coming up with the actual application after the fact, after the fact application. There was a lot of work that had to be done and a lot of money was spent. And to spend any more money on this, the town's money, our money for litigation, we want to comply. We want to run a gravel operation there. So in order to do that, we can't be in this situation.
Well, I think this.
Before we get started, you need to state your name for the record. I know we all know you are, but just.
Ron Sweeney.
Okay, no, thank you. I appreciate you getting that on the record.
So I think the next step forward is just to figure out how we're gonna close the civil litigation, which would be the stipulation. And so your attorney, our attorney will go back and forth on that, and we'll have further meetings to make sure that the litigation aspect of things can be wrapped up. That'll help you avoid any future lawyer's fees.
I understand that, but I think ultimately the commission has the say so. You guys put this in place for whatever reason. It wasn't Ed. It was the commission who requested this. And I think we should reconsider what it is that you're really asking from us as part of that lawsuit. I mean, it seems to me like, is there really any reason that we need to go down this road? Do we really need to see who's right or who's wrong? I mean, I feel like that's what we're gonna go in front of a judge and say, yes, they violated. Yes, they did what they were asked to do. We came to an agreement. Why can't we put it to bed?
So because both of our lawyers are not present, I want to be very careful what is said here. I think that the communications that you have with your attorney and that your attorney will have with our attorney, there's obviously going to be more conversation. Eric is kind of our figurehead between meetings, and he will converse with us about what is happening in the litigation and where things are. But because you only got the draft stipulation today, I want you to have time, if you haven't already, and you don't need to tell us the discussions you've had with your attorney, but just to be able to talk about the stipulation with your attorney and then provide feedback or a counter offer essentially to the stipulation, and that will be discussed with us.
And we certainly are free to have Attorney Casella here to discuss whatever is put on the table. Have him here next month, but at this point, I'm not sure, again, given that there's attorneys out there with stipulation in hand, that there's a lot to be said for going forward and talking about it further this evening, but yes, Michael.
Just as a kind of an administrative matter, once we get into that discussion about litigation, that's gonna be an executive session.
It can be, it doesn't have to be, but yes, it can be, given the pending litigation.
And we did have one month, yeah, we had the executive session last month, which in turn Ed used to make the draft stipulation. So I want to be respectful of the attorney-client relationship, and I want you to have your counsel to discuss with you, just as we want to have our counsel just to wrap up the litigation aspect of this. So, and it's not saying that nothing will happen for a month, because obviously, Ed and Harry, I think. Bill, okay. Bill is going to be talking to Ed and will be fed information over the course of the month. So if Eric can't make a decision without us, we can even call a special meeting to discuss this, because we don't want this hanging over your head forever, but we just want to make sure the right avenues are taken, given that we both have attorneys involved.
And I understand that, but I don't think you really ever we never really talked before this executive decision was made. And it was our impression that once we complied and it was gonna be put to bed, there'd be no other stipulations. So that's, I guess, is the confusing part here, is that although we filed the after the fact, we complied, there's still some leftover stuff hanging out, so.
Without, providing you legal advice, because I am an attorney, just the stipulation, it's a judgment by stipulation, so we need that to be able to close the lawsuit if we're settling something before trial. So that's why there's a stipulation in place, and the terms of it are something that can be discussed between both parties going forward. But that stipulation is something that the court needs to basically officially close the matter, so they're not setting us up for short calendar and, jury selection should you choose it, or anything of that nature. So it's just making it so we can move on, all of us can move on from this, close the chapter, but then also have certain protections. The goal from the Wetlands Commission is to have certain protections in place should a violation happen again. And so certainly you've seen that in the draft stipulation. And that is something that then can be negotiated between the parties, because ultimately the stipulation is something that both parties have to agree to get the lawsuit ended, essentially. So it's just a matter of process for the legal system to be able to close this chapter for both yourself and for the town.
Thank you.
Derek, anything to add or?
No, I think, again, at this point, the less said, probably the better, because I guess it is in the attorney's hands, and we'll hear back from it to sell up, make, so whatever, it has to say. With their, counsel for the applicant here.
But we appreciate you being here tonight and voicing that.
Sure.
All right. So let's move on to old business number 3, which is application 25-24 for 308-1 Mile Creek Road, the application for a spillway pipe replacement.
So I feel like we're at a standstill because you keep asking, for an opinion from the town engineer to, discuss what was presented for, at first it was a pipe replacement. My calculations, were inadequate for the engineer because there wasn't an engineer who presented them, although two pipes that were there, were more than adequate. They've been there for many, many years until they got blocked by the beaver and the water came up and then it washed the sides of the dam out. So I came up with an alternative so that wouldn't happen, with an overflow spillway that created another list of engineering questions on basically a pond retainage with a spillway. So we then moved to a check dam, which seemed to be much easier to understand, presented that and got almost, I think, pretty much the same answer from the engineers, that he wants somebody to engineer that. I think my stance at this point was, or all along was, we're not gonna hire an engineer to maintain water in a pond that we can either put a simple spillway in, or we could have done a culvert pipe replacement, which would have been, either one would have been very easily done. And I think that at this point, either, we allow the Beavers Dam is doing a great job today. I mean, he's gaining ground every day he's there. He gains another inch or two on it, and the pond's getting fuller and fuller until we get some real rain and it comes over that. And then it'll empty the pond out, because once it starts chewing on, once Mother Nature puts her fist to that beaver dam, it's not gonna hold. That sticks and it's not. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna continue to wash the sediment and infill the wetlands. And ultimately, we're all about protecting wetlands, right? And it's clear, we go down there and that's what it's infilling the wetlands. So the only saving grace we've had is we haven't had any rain. And, it's just sheer luck. I think it would be irresponsible not to do something. And to require an engineer to devise a device that can be easily done in the current situation that it's in, and it was done way prior to me, without an engineer, and it's worked for 30, 40 years, probably it's been in there. So the pipe size isn't a problem. The beaver's the problem, and then part of the initial was I created a grate system that wouldn't block the pipe. But for whatever reason, it created more engineering than I wanted to spend any money on. I just don't want it's not. The pond water has no value. But again, it's irresponsible to let the water wash the fines into the wetlands. What are wetlands? You guys are to protect wetlands. You went down there, you saw what's happening. So it would be irresponsible for me to not come in, file an application, pay the $350. I could have just let it continue. So I come in here now to ask your help on do the responsible thing. And let's put a check dam in there that I proposed. You have no skin in the game if it passes or fails. If it fails, I come back and I'll bring you a new plan. I got a feeling, I have enough experience in this business that I can build a check dam in that hole, in that trench. That's gonna do way better than that beaver dam's gonna. And right now, we got two decisions to make. We let Mother Nature take her course, or you approve something that we can get there that's gonna be way better than that beaver dam.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney.
So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to help you with, any of the plans and any of the things that I've presented. If you have any questions at all, I've given the elevations, the material, any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer for you.
And Eric, can you just fill the commission in again on your discussions with the town engineer?
Yeah, after last month, you guys directed me to take the materials I had and bring them to Jacobson's office and see if they were able to review them. I sent everything over there. Aaron Mortensen reviewed them. He gave me literally a one sentence answer, which is I'm unable to provide meaningful review based on materials provided. So at this point, you have, again, whatever Mr. Sweeney is proposing, my engineer is unable to review it. You want to take Mr. Sweeney's word, great, but again, you specifically sent me to ask the engineer what his thoughts were. The engineer basically said, I can't give you any thoughts because I don't have enough information. So, yeah, if you, as Mr. Sweeney said, we only have two choices, which is say the application is incomplete, because you don't have enough information, or take it for what it is and prove it as presented, or as modified. So, I don't know what else to offer you, but again, I did follow your instructions. I did seek input from the engineer. The engineer said he was unable to review it, and here we are.
Thanks, Eric. Discussion.
I'll start it off, so why not? We spent a lot of time on this property. Probably gonna spend a lot of time in the future as well. And my only concern is that if something is gonna happen in the waterway that's been very problematic for us in the past, it's important to know what's going in and that it's been properly designed. Not that I'm, saying Mr. Sweeney doesn't know how to do it. But if it fails and damages someone downstream, he doesn't have a PC stamp that's responsible for the design, so the town could be responsible for proving something that fails. We've got to really depend on our engineer to evaluate it, have enough information to evaluate it and tell us whether or not it's gonna work and it's stable. And my gut feeling is that if our engineer's telling us that they don't have enough information to evaluate it, the application's incomplete and it needs to be turned down for incompleteness at this stage. It's not to say that I wouldn't be in favor of an engineered plan in the future. That someone has stamped and said, this is.
So with that being said, to roll the clock back to what was approved by this commission on the removal of the head wall stones and what was done on that, on that berm. No, my point,
Excuse me.
I'm not finished, I was talking.
No, you don't, no. It's the commission's turn to talk right now. You gave your presentation. The chair asked the commission members to give their statements. We'll come back to you in a few minutes. Okay?
Questions?
That's our appeal. So we're talking about the permit in front of us, which we've asked for engineering. We've been told that's not gonna happen. We've looked at it, we've had people that are knowledgeable on construction look at that are on the commission and still have question without the town engineer saying, yes, I agree with Mike that this is incomplete.
Anyone else? Right, I appreciate everything that you've been working on, Mr. Sweeney, but I do agree with Mike and John in that, you know, this has been a site that has caused problems, at least in more recent history, and this particular project, should it fail, you know, then it's looking like the town, the taxpayers are gonna be on the hook if something fails and causes property damage to somebody further downstream.
I completely understand that.
So that is why we're asking for an engineered plan. It's not because we doubt, you know, your real world experience. It's just having the engineered plan also provides you protection in that should it fail, you can go against the engineer who planned it and have protection yourself. And I'm sure your insurance company for that property would also appreciate that as well. So I think what we've talked about in the past and here tonight is that we're looking to protect the wetlands, we're looking to protect you, we're looking to protect the town, we're looking to protect property owners downstream. And I know you keep saying that you have spent a lot of money in this center from the other you know, violation hearings that you've had to go through with us, but then also this application. I respect that, I understand that it's really costly. But if you're standing to have a gravel operation here, hopefully that money will be recouped at, you know, at a later date. But at this point, I can't be in support of moving forward with the plan as you've drawn it.
Can I talk now?
Does anybody else have any? Yes, Mr. Singer.
So I would like to just point out a fact that the decision to remove the boulders and the berm on the previous was done by the commission, not the town or any engineer, even though we did have an engineer state that the rock should stay and the berm should stay in their professional opinion. They gave you that and said that those should stay. And the commission, without utilized the town's engineer, made the decision on your own to remove those rocks and that berm. So it feels like a double standard. You pick and choose when you want to use the town's engineer and when you want to pick and choose your own professional opinion. You use your own opinion on removing the rocks and the berm, and you didn't use a professional. But yet this one, which is in the big picture of things, maintaining a private pond water versus the 3 Mile River. We're talking apples and oranges. The pond bleeds into another pond, which bleeds into a wetlands. There's basically no real damage. If something was to go wrong with the 3 Mile River, that washes downstream and that affects us all the way to Point of Woods. So you made a decision on the 3 Mile River Commission. And yet you won't let me make a decision on my own pond. But yet we let a couple come in here a month ago and they dredged the pond without an engineer. And I don't even know if there was any supervision, and there was no provisions. I don't even think there was a map that shows where the silt fencing was gonna go down there. And they got permission, just a couple who's not even in the business. They didn't even bring an excavator here. So I do feel like we're picking and choosing when you want to use the engineer and the professional, and when you want to use the professional's opinion. I paid for them, we used them, and you went against them without another professional's opinion. I just feel like that's why I presented the other one. I figured if you're not going to go with the professional's opinion, then why can't I present it myself and get the pond stable, because it's on my own property.
Excellent.
I have a brief comment to that.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think they're comparable. Number one, the activities that we had under the violation were installed without any engineering approval. None, zero, just happened. What we did as a commission, and I don't think there was any justification ever presented to this commission that the berm had a purpose. Was doing what it was supposed to be doing. And we didn't get that from the applicant. We basically removed what was put there without a permit, without engineer's design or anything, and basically it can be restored. And that was done basically on our professional opinion. We do have some expertise on this commission. There are other things that probably should have been done that we aren't there yet, so, but they're not the same. And the circumstances are different. Had someone come in and made an application to do those things, put the berm in and do the rock placement on the river, we don't know if we would have approved it. We probably would have asked for some sort of engineering analysis. Is the berm gonna be effective? Is it in the 100-year floodplain? We never had that opportunity, so they're really like apples and oranges. They're not the same, in my humble opinion.
I respect both points of view. And I appreciate you talking about the other applications, the person dredging their pond, but I think that's also for the private, private use. It's a family property, that it's not a commercial operation. It's not helping a commercial operation. So I think that's also a concern, because the scope of the work that you're doing, the machinery that would be traversing that area is also a lot heavier than, the pond that you're talking about was not going to be touched by vehicles or anything after the fact, and yours is.
No, it isn't.
It's still the pond I'm thinking of, because it has been a while since I've been to a sidewalk, so I'm physically unable to walk sites anymore. But it's along a road, correct? And there's a pipe that's going under the road that heavy machinery will be on.
No.
Okay.
No, this pond stands alone. So when you come in, this pond stands alone. It used to be a silt basin.
Mm.
And it's no longer gonna be a silt basin. There'll be no more silt in those three ponds. So all we're trying to do is maintain the water level in those ponds, because when you guys went down there, you could see that it was down 3-4 feet. You could see the rust line of the rock, and it was basically almost to the mud point. So when that trench emptied out, it drained those ponds. So in that, any of the animals in there, because you only have a little bit amount of water in there. So by us putting the dam back in there, we'll wind up with at least 4 feet of water back in there. By just putting a check dam in there, we're just holding the water back. So any rainwater, there's no in water, there's no influx of water. The only water that comes through there is basically the driveway and when it rains. And when the 3 Mile River breaches, it'll come over the road, it goes into that pond. So if that 3 Mile River breaches, comes over that road, everything goes down through that sluiceway and washes those fines into the wetlands. That's what's happening. Fortunately, we haven't had any rain. Have you seen the pictures?
I've seen lots of pictures.
Yeah, no, of that, but what's happening over there?
The ones that you sent in at the last meeting.
Yeah. Eric,
Yes.
you have those?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should review what's,
Okay, this is the commission's application at this point. So you've made your case, the commission wants to review, they can review. So,
I still stand by my earlier comment that I think having an engineered plan protects everyone. So I would agree with Mike and John in that the application would be incomplete without the engineered plan. Any other discussion?
I would make a motion that this application be denied for incompleteness and cite the lack of adequate engineering analysis.
Second,
All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Moving on to old business item number 4, for 15 Neck Road and 2 Sharon Drive for a status violation update. Here,
Okay, I sent out to you, and I have hard copies here, this one, of the, updated memo regarding what's going on in that site there. At this point, it's been about 6 months now since we first had, the original version of this memo, the original system order for you folks, or for me, if you folks stayed. We don't have a bond. We don't get notice when there's work on the site. He's not really maintaining what's going on there. I don't really know that we're getting the progress we're hoping for. So I'm sure giving this to you to say, okay, folks, I think I go out as far as I can go on this. And maybe it's time to talk to Ed Casilla about what we want to do next year. So, I did send this out. If you have questions about it, I'm happy to answer them. But the short version is that the things you had requested, you really have not received. You have not gotten any sort of engineering report from him. The forms that were in the bottom of that foundation are now gone, because I saw somebody moving them. But we don't know if the foundation's in the right place. We don't have a planting plan for that 20-foot buffer area. Again, Sweeney, who just left, put in all sorts of check dams going down where that erosion was occurring. But since they were put in, there's been no maintenance of them. There's a huge pile of dirt that's sort of sitting there just off to the left-hand side when you drive in. There's no erosion controls around them, and they've been digging into the side of them, so you've got basically sheer slopes there with no 3-to-1 sloping, no erosion controls. It's going to cause, again, when it does rain, it's going to collapse. It's a very dangerous situation. And I just don't see it getting better on its own. So I don't know if you have questions about where we are, but it's not encouraging.
And to just say really quick, I didn't ask for Ed to be here tonight, just cognizant of his time, our budget. But I figured we've been through this process very recently, so we kind of know if we were to start litigation, we know where we're going, but.
So,
I don't know, I'm the new guy here still, but, we kicked around a bond on this, on the Brook House.
Yeah.
Why don't we go down that road? I thought I read someplace in this, he purported to have some level of financing.
He came in last month and talked about.
So I read
Yeah.
the minutes, I wasn't here,
Well,
but,
I understand, but
is that something that we could?
we've asked
Yeah.
repeatedly for a bond,
Well,
and
then,
it hasn't appeared.
so to me, it's not only the inaction, but he's done work without notifying you, and he had people in the wetlands at one point.
Yeah.
Doing the shovel work without notifying you. That hasn't been quantified. Certainly probably hasn't been documented. So I think with any, without making any move to put up the bond that we've asked for months ago, I think we're at the point where we have to direct counsel to start litigation.
Eric, do we have a cease and correct standing on the
Well, yeah,
house?
yeah.
So he's theoretically shouldn't be doing anything without working with you.
Yeah, you directed him to, with, the soil scientist, excavate a certain portion of there in a location supervised by the
Yeah.
soil scientist. Again, they had 4 guys digging in there, no supervision, no evidence that it was exactly what he was asking for. When I was there, they were literally taking the soil and dumping it in another location within the 100-foot review area. So we were just picking up the soil from one part of the wetlands and moving it to a different part of the wetlands. So again, I'm not sure that counts as progress. Yeah, again, theoretically, other than the things you directed him to do regarding mitigation of that wetlands, he should not be doing other activity in that area. Again, I think you did allow him to remove the forms on the bottom of that foundation. And again, I can confirm that those are now gone. But as a sort of condition going with that, he's also supposed to give you an accurate map showing where the foundation is. And he's supposed to prepare some sort of buffering plan that shows that 20-foot buffer you asked for along the south edge, I guess it is, of that site there. So, yeah, we've gotten some work done, but again, without notifying me ahead of time. There's supposed to be some sort of inspection schedule that they're supposed to create with me. There's supposed to be some sort of accurate erosion control plan that's supposed to be filed. I don't have any of that.
And Mr. Swaney left.
Actually, that would be helpful.
Well, it was, it got grass growing.
Yes. And my understanding is of any of his creditors, Mr. Sweeney actually took his money and walked away, so. That is why I don't think it's being maintained at the moment, because Mr. Sweeney, again, got paid and walked, but. Again, we are where we are, and I just don't know what else, I just don't want out of tools to use at this point in time.
I think we've been very patient. We've tried to look at the applicant and, we're not getting the response that we need. And it's just unfortunately time to move to location.
Now, walk me through the litigation. So we talked to our attorney. They go to court. The guy goes bankrupt theoretically because he has no money to post the bond.
Yeah, then
Someone new will hopefully come in and with some dollars and straighten it out,
the,
because we're not gonna have the money to do anything to fix it.
So we in the town have the claim to the property.
well, we certainly don't want the property itself. We're not in the developer business, but what we do want is whoever steps in after these guys go belly up, and I'm guessing it's just a matter of time, has to know that what they're stepping into is a situation that they're going to need to fix this.
Yeah, but it's relatively straightforward, and I'm
No,
not saying it's inexpensive, but
No,
it's
but I guess,
obvious what you need to do to resolve it.
but by getting the litigation filed now, that sort of puts anyone who theoretically does due diligence to buy it. They might do a record search of the court to see if there's any litigation out
Yes, or
there.
negotiation
Um,
advantage.
You know, it puts them on notice of what's going to happen. In a way like, for instance, on Lord's Meadow right now, we have a situation where they have lost control of many of these lots, and the road is not finished. So we're holding $100,000 bond on a $500,000 job. And the people who took the lots away are saying, whoa, we're not the developer, not us, don't come looking to us to make the road whole. And theoretically, the road is still owned by same people in Ositos, but they don't have money to fix the road. So we're kind of at an impasse there. The buyers didn't know going in that this was an issue. They told me, we didn't know. So the goal here is to make sure whoever steps into their shoes, and there's gonna be someone who steps into their shoes,
Lots.
is gonna know upfront, the only way to make this go is to fix these problems.
This is almost consumer protection action
Well, it's
in some
a
ways.
way to
That's what I
make
was worried about.
sure that, again, no one can tell me like they did with North Meadow. We bought people, we didn't understand the problems. Anyone who comes in and takes these lots away from us, is gonna have to know that they're gonna have to solve these issues. And some of them, again, the road and the pipe under the road, that's not gonna be cheap to fix. That's why our engineer was saying, well, $100,000 bond, right? 50,000 for erosion control, 50,000 to fix the road. And again, we haven't received either of those. And
Does
again,
zoning have something standing to?
it's not, it's a subdivision issue, right? It's not,
So it's a planning
it's a
issue.
planning issue, it's not a zoning issue, at least at the moment. So yeah, this would be a subdivision failure, or in theory, we could revoke the subdivision over this. I'm not sure we want to do that either. But the only advantage at the moment is he hasn't flipped any of these lots yet. There's no consumer who's like living in any of these houses yet, 'cause I don't get COs on them. I put him on notice that until the pipe is fixed, I'm not issuing COs, because I'm afraid if that pipe fails, you're not gonna be able to get to those houses.
$1 million house.
And who would that be on? That'd be on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and again, also, but it's a fire, and the fire trucks can't get there because the road has failed, it's a problem.
So do we need a motion to direct our lawyer?
I'll make the motion to direct the lawyer to commence litigation. against the property owners of 16 Neck Road and 2 Sharon Drive for the reasons listed in the status violation update.
I will second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Everyone, motion passes.
I'm sorry, folks. I really don't want to get to this point, but.
No,
Well,
you've
we
done a
didn't-
great job, Eric. We kind of knew who we were against. We gave them chance after chance after chance, and it's time
It would be
that,
irresponsible to get it.
Well, yeah, particularly that he came here last month and gave this whole wonderful story about everyone's gonna get paid and it's all terrific and there's not gonna be any problems. It's all gonna be solved.
and he's not here.
And
Well,
he's not, he did get a copy of the new memo.
Yeah.
I said, we will be discussing it tonight.
Yeah.
And he's not here. And he hasn't contacted me at all in the last month. I've received nothing from him in a month. So, you know, I just don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I don't, even though I don't relish doing this sort of thing, but I just don't know that we have other tools, so.
I think, Ed should cast a wide net on the towns.
Okay. I will pass that along. Because at this point,
Taking off my lawyer.
with the refinancing, the properties have changed LLC. So he has the old LLC, the new LLC, and, you know, guarantee, all of the above. So I will let Ed know to cast a wide net on this, to try and make sure we get it done, okay?
We have regular business. Item number 1, WEO report.
Okay, just
Here.
two things to briefly talk about, as you may recall from last one, Miami Beach. They sort of took a portion of the parking lot and piled it against the side there. After a fair amount of back and forth, they have now undone what they did, scraped everything, put it back where it was. I'm not entirely thrilled that it got put there and then taken away, but I asked them to take it away, it's been taken away, so I think it's pretty much a closed issue at this point in time. They know if they're gonna do this again, come get a permit before you pile things next to the river. So, that's one. 16 Meeting House. I think I also talked to you folks about 16 Meeting House. Property where they have clear cut down to what is a very steep slope going down. There is a water course at the bottom of that steep slope. Where they have clear cut is within 100 feet of that. At my direction, the guy who was cutting has put a wood chip berm along the edge, just so I have some level of control there should it rain. That said, after some fairly tense back and forth with the owner, he left here with an application and he said he will be filing it. If he does not file it, I will be back in touch with you folks regarding what happens then. But he insisted he had no idea. Okay, great. He had no idea. But at this point, he did clear about half an acre's worth of site. And again, it also may come to the zoning commission because you need an erosion control plan to clear half an acre of site. I did talk with one of the attorneys here in town, Fran, regarding that situation. He's representing him, so I know he has counsel. And we'll see where we go from here. But again, he has an application, he has counsel, so hopefully you'll be hearing from him at the next meeting. And I think that's about all I have as far as violations, unless anybody has issues that they want to bring up at this point.
Saying that, I mean, he's claiming ignorance, but, you know, somebody out in Greenwich also cleared a lot of land near wetlands and got in trouble, just saying. So, you should know.
I understand. And he got notice. He claims the notice I sent went to the wrong place because he wasn't at the place I sent it to. Great. Now he knows. And he's been in here and he has an application and he has representation. So hopefully we're gonna get that moving in the right direction.
Anything? Moving on to reading and approval of the minutes. For the, I'll do it in 2 parts because I didn't go to the sidewalk. So for the September 23rd regular meeting minutes, did anybody have any changes? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the September 23rd regular meeting minutes.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstention for my, and for Pete? Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, well, we do have a quorum on the,
Okay.
yes, so, good. And then for the September 29th, 2025 special meeting sidewalk minutes, did anybody have any changes to that? Seeing none, I will not make a motion because I was not present.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I understand.
Okay, so we have only 3.
It's okay.
That's okay?
Well, four, right? It's fine, they're looking at only three of us there.
Oh, it's no, it's a 5-member commission.
Three,
Yeah.
four, right?
That's right. We have, perfect. We have a lot more than 5 people at this meeting. I always forget. Yeah, right. All right, so motion passes. Anything else? Are we gonna be order? Motion to adjourn. Everyone agrees. Thanks, everyone.
Anybody wants to, our approval to the Kankiewicz meeting? I know 2 of us, my wife has a table and I'm going, so we've got 2 seats.